Talking about leadership development, children are leaders in the making.
Yes.
Leaders of tomorrow.
Leaders of tomorrow.
Tomorrow has come. In fact, tomorrow has become yesterday. Some of them never became leaders. But let's find out one of the important things they need to become the leaders that we expect them to be in a moment on our lifestyle segment. Children in the house, we're here. We are here. We are here.
We are the leaders of tomorrow. We are here now.
Say it again.
Leaders of this is our tomorrow. Our tomorrow.
Wait, say it again. She's my boss, and she's saying she's the leader of tomorrow.
Am I not leader? Leader of today. I said the tomorrow is here. Tomorrow is here, which means today.
We are not talking about children like you. Talking about children like me.
I'm someone's child.
She.
Excuse you. Okay, so we're at our lifestyle, segment,
and Children's Day this year was about fostering inclusive.
Yes.
Growth.
Yes.
Like
fostering
that.
Inclusivity or something.
Yes.
Yeah. Fostering inclusivity, and also, as always, protecting their rights. You have to protect their rights so that you can foster.
Right to good food.
Right to good food.
And that's what our guest this morning wants to talk
right
about.
to education, yes, certainly. So we're talking about inclusive nutrition, which means ensuring that every child, regardless of their abilities, socio-economic background, or location, has access to the specific nutrient-dense foods required for healthy growth and cognitive development. It bridges the gap between basic survival and thriving. And this is by addressing individual dietary and medical needs. So nobody should be discriminated against. Everybody should strive to get this. So our guest today is Eziaha Bolaji Olojo, a certified health coach, health mindset and habits coach, all wrapped into one.
It's like, thank you for joining us.
And I'm sure it's much longer than that. We just had to catch it.
Long. 13 page
CV.
I'm the child here today. I'm the child here today. So, yeah.
Somebody that's almost finished doctorate. If you have not already finished, stage doctorate. Anyway, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Many times when we talk about Children's Day, it is the adults that organize events for themselves.
True that.
I don't agree.
It's just it's not just Children's Day. When you have a birthday,
are you the guest?
Wait, I want to add to it.
Okay.
Like when you have birthday parties for your 1-year-old, please.
We can have conversations around that 1-year birthday. We agree, but we're talking of Children's Day.
Yeah.
Usually, we plan events for children, child-centered, child-themed student events in schools, and it's usually for the students.
Do we?
Yes,
really?
we do. It's birthdays, those first birthdays that the adults are coming to enjoy themselves. And you can't even blame these adults because what the mother has gone through in 1 year, please, she needs to pass.
And please, let the fathers not accuse you.
We are not even going there.
Anyway.
So when we talk about inclusive nutrition, for those who are hearing that for the first time, what do you think it means? The federal government, the United Nations or whoever they are came to talk, revolved Children's Day this year around fostering inclusivity and all of that. But so when we talk about inclusive nutrition, what are we talking about?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. A. Thank you so much, Lady Jeka, for having me. So I'll start with a report from UNICEF from last year. So their last year's child nutrition report tells us that food environments are now failing our children because it's now more about profit than anything. And the number one child-facing environment, really, outside of the home, they're the schools. So UNICEF is telling us that those environments are now failing our children. Another report that came out in September 2025 tells us that obesity is now the higher form of malnutrition than underweight. Before, when we thought malnutrition, you think of those children in some war-torn countries with their bones showing. And we're like, these children are malnourished. These children are, have health challenges. But today, UNICEF is telling us that the obese child, the overweight child, is the new face of malnutrition.
Wow.
That's incredible. It means that you see a child that looks healthy, but yet the child is not healthy. So they're telling us that the food environments that children are in are now failing them because they're not optimized for their overall health. So when we're talking inclusion, nutrition must now be a part of inclusion, because what's the point of bringing a child into school? Because that's what the inclusion is supposed to be about. Bring a child into school, there's access to education, everybody. But when the child is not equipped to learn, then there's a problem, because what children are eating are generally affecting how they're learning. So it's not enough to bring them to school if the environment is not optimized for health. So what nutrition inclusion looks like is that we have wellness, diet, nutrition conversations, even in school, so that we can have an all-round developed child.
Yes, certainly. And, my little boy tells me one thing all the time. He says, if you give him food, he will say, Mommy, are all the classes of food, is it complete? Otherwise, because they told me all the classes of food must be complete before I eat my food. I said, yeah. That's how
Mr. Ayo doing that.
he's not looking for it. But really, you said something now that you see a seemingly healthy child, but the child is obese. But there are some children now that you see, you will see that they have weight problems. It's not really closed anymore. You see children that are 6-7 year old and they're huge, they're big, and you wonder, why are they this big? What are the parents doing? Is it hereditary? Is it poor food choices? Is it, you never know. What about those categories of
Maybe
children?
the question, or maybe perhaps put in a different way, how do you differentiate
between a healthy
one and then an obese one that you are saying is malnourished now?
So one of the things that you see moms worry about sometimes is that they think their children are underweight, because their children are not looking like the other children that they see. So they're complaining like, my baby is not chubby, my child is not. So the first way is actually to speak to a child expert, a doctor. There are ranges. There's a weight range for different age ranges and also your height. So a doctor is able to tell you. However, something that's even more important than that is what is on your child's plate and what has become normal to the child. Because you were saying something like, why are the children overweight? What's causing it? It's because of what we have now normalized when it comes to nutrition. If you talk to an average child, what do you like? You hear some kinds of food. And even for us parents, we feel like there's some kinds of food that are for lower socioeconomic class. For example, think of pap. Pap, which is a local Nigerian food. We can be like, oh, pap is supposed to be for, or even gari, drinking gari, but these are good foods.
However, I don't even like the way you're mentioning Grace as a cassava flakes.
So with cold water and ice cubes.
So when normalizing ultra-processed food, it looks like what if I want my child to enjoy, then this is what my child should have. When normalizing junk-filled party packs, if the party pack is not full of all of these things, your child feels like, I'm at a disadvantage. If the child opens a lunch box and it doesn't have all this packaged stuff in it, it feels like, oh, all my friends have it, but I don't have it. So until the child's lunch box looks like an aisle, literally the junk aisle in a supermarket, we think that we have not arrived. And that's because we're normalizing these things, which is why UNICEF calls it food profits. It's now about profit, not about nutrition. So we're saying, let's safeguard the environments that children find themselves. Number one, being the schools. What does that look like? Okay, what do you allow when it comes to the lunch boxes of the kids? One of the things that schools do, they can say things like, oh, Mondays and Wednesdays are fruits and water days. I don't know if you heard things like that.
Yeah, we have that.
What we're now saying, if I can join my voice with UNICEF, is to say every day
should be fruits
and water day.
Every day.
Every day should be it. Why are we putting it in a corner like it's supposed to be the thing that we added?
But my apologies. Perhaps the challenge that some schools may now consider is
parents
costs. Because some parents are going to tell you we can afford it. There are schools, that say no processed food comes into the school at all.
And
I
drink.
know that
No
for a
fizzy
fact.
drinks
Oh,
there.
sure.
That it has to be prepared food.
Yes.
Even your prepared food, you better try to make sure it doesn't include spaghetti.
Yes.
Because
The school.
as much as possible, they are telling you, we want it to be, as natural as
Yes.
possible. Perhaps that leads to the question, madam, of food literacy.
Yes. So, one of the things we're proposing as we talk to schools on my PhD journey is that we should actually educate not just the children, but you have to educate the adults, because there are many adults that are not aware of what is right. So you educate the adults, you educate the parents. And Mr. Ayo, you actually said a very important point. I was speaking to one of the educators, more like the owner of a school in Montessori, and she said one of the biggest challenges I face is with the parents.
Parents, yes.
Because they're like, why can't my child bring this to school? I mean, we can afford it, so why can't I? Why can't I pack that in my child's lunchbox? But guess what? They send it right back home, and they say no. Because Montessori especially believes that food is part of education. So you know what Mr. was saying about they don't bring some kinds of food. They even insist sometimes on preparing it. It is part of the curriculum. So we're saying, because some people are actually labeled illiterates, food illiterates, and it's not bad, because you can learn. What you don't know, you can learn. So we're saying now, don't just teach the children. It's okay for schools to have a forum and say, let's bring an expert to talk to the parents and to talk to my teachers, my fellow educators, on what wellness and nutrition looks like for children. Let me tell you an example I hit with a mom, a school owner who's also a mom. She said how on the days, which was why they changed the curriculum around food in her school, she said on the days that they would have fruits and water days, once it's break time and they have their snack, the children have relatively normal energy levels. But the days that they allow sugary drinks and junk, after break, when the children have their snacks, you can no longer control the children. They're hyper. The classrooms are on a different level of energy. And so those children are no longer better learners. And then the teachers are not able to control them. And she's like, you know what? I'm not going to allow this anymore in my school. It's now going to be fruits and water every day. That's because as an educator, she saw it. She educated her people, educated her parents, and everyone had to come along on this journey. So education, not just for the children, but for the adults, is important. When you hear such statistics that UNICEF tells us that food environments are failing our children, that should tell us something, that no, wellness conversations must also happen in schools. It must happen as part of the curriculum, and that's one of the messages I'm carrying along on the school nutrition table.
It's interesting that we now have to educate parents like we're educating children. Unfortunately, there is no school of parenting
Well, there should
that is administered by the Federal Ministry of Education
And health.
But in churches and religious organizations, they have various schools of parenting and all of that. Getting parents also to be interested in that kind of thing would be quite a chore, isn't it?
It would be quite a chore. But one thing I do know is that research data actually makes a difference. So we're not just coming to tell you advocacy and tell you passion. We're looking at the numbers too. You're looking at pictures. You're looking at reality. For example, my friend who owns a school saw that reality, that I could no longer control my children after break when they had loaded their systems with sugar. So there's an appealing that you have to appeal to parents. And when Mr. Ayo say that these days it's funny that we have to educate parents, we really have to, because the climb is no longer the same. When we were growing up, I'm turning 40 this year, we didn't have as much junk in the system as now.
Yes.
Now, junk is normal. We grew up eating real food. We grew up not packing so many packaged foods in our lunch boxes. We grew up eating rice and beans and gari and yam. But now children are growing up with foods that are not foods. They are made in a lab. So they are not even really food. So, and there's a lot of deception too out there. So we must educate the parents, and you educate them with infographics. You educate them with data. You educate them with patience. Patience, because of course it's not always easy to unlearn that which you know. And of course, because we're even in a society that likes to show off.
Yes, I know a mom, for want of busy mornings, you have to drop the kids at school, and then, the kids, maybe they eat cereal in the morning, and then, they just tell her, this conversation I had, like, how do you get your children to eat properly in the morning? She gives them, like, maybe when they're taking cornflakes, like maybe 3 or 4 scoops of milk. And then the kid complains and says, "It's the milk you really need. It's not about the cornflakes." Forget this. The cornflakes is just for so that you'll be full a bit. But it's the milk, which is the nutrient that I'm trying to get you to have. Or you just have a boiled egg in the morning, and so just load up on food that will, feed, that will make you full, feed your brain, and make you alert in school. I think those are the kind of things, even for parents, for mothers, maybe groups and all that. Can we have such things that we can educate each other, from group to group.
And one of my research topics had to do with how parents are reducing ultra-processed foods in their children's diet, especially their school-age children. And Mr. Ayo, you would be surprised to know that there are a lot of parents who are doing that. They just don't have, yes, I had a lot of parents who are reducing. We even have parents who did not start at all. In this generation, they didn't even start. So their children cannot identify with ultra-processed foods. So yes, they're parents. But we now need to put the mic in their faces. We need to blow up these parents, which is why I'm in the field. I'm doing research. I'm going here and they're talking to schools. Because I want you to know that it's possible. There's a busy mom who thinks, I don't have time in the morning. I'm just going to give my kids cereal and this packaged food. But there's another busy mom who is able to still give her kids real food. Now we're asking those parents, how are you doing it? Because it's not impossible. And every time we put the spotlight on them, we learn. It starts with one parent, then 2 parents, then 3 parents, then many parents. And it also starts with one school, then 2 schools.
Schools. So let's talk about schools. There are schools that, as you have said, as we have, you have a concurrence here that some schools are taking the initiative and beginning to, create the bridges. We have public schools, we have private schools. Do you think it might make... Okay, maybe I should ask it this way. What are the consequences of not giving children the proper nutrition? What are the consequences in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years? What are the consequences of poor nutrition for children, aside from diseases?
Aside from diseases. So I like to tear it across the consequences for children, consequences in the learning environment, and consequences to the parents. So for the children, they're not able to concentrate in class. So they're not really learning as much as we think they're learning. So you have children who are not well fed, and they come to school and they are sleepy. Their heads are on the table, they're not able to grasp as much. And that's not what we want to do with children. We want children who are not just intelligent, but they're healthy. So that's it for children. If you look at the teachers deserve to have classrooms they can manage. Once a child is jumping around or the child is not able to give the attention, teachers who are passionate about their work feel that and not able to impact the right knowledge to the children. And then when you look at the parents, once children start to eat a lot of ultra-processed foods, you have more school day disruptions, meaning that they're not able to come to school because they're sick. The parents are spending more money in the hospitals. And of course, which parent wants to waste their money on something that they shouldn't have even spent the money? There's that. Then there's the impact of on their health for children. Now, I'll give you an example. A doctor was telling us how a child came in at 6. First of all, she was grossly overweight, but she was also already menstruating. That's early puberty, 6 years, and she was weighing about 90 kg. What? Yes. And then the parents is thinking, oh my God, someone must have molested this child. That's why she's bleeding. And when they check, they realize that no, it's early menarche. She's actually menstruating early. So we're seeing children hit puberty earlier. Do you know what that means when they're older? Some of them will have fertility issues. It's food. It means that my girl child, who is bringing out breasts earlier and looking all of that, and we think, oh, she's maturing. We're actually setting her up for fertility issues in the future. So it's not just about now. It's about the future. And because we love our children, we don't want that for them.
Well, there's something that you people always do when you come here. You scare us. You scare us. But let me just believe that, the lessons have been learned by a good number of people who have listened to you this morning, because we didn't even know. Many people don't even know how serious and how impactful nutrition is on their lives. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Isiaha Bolaji is a certified health coach and health mindset and habits coach. Mindset. Okay. Another matter for another day. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.